Go ahead and head on out to 2.7. 2.7, we have decimal operations. Decimal operations. Okay, so this is really a review of everything that we learned so far, because decimals are numbers also. They're the same as integers, the same thing. We're going to use the same operations. Okay, so let's see if we can go ahead and review a little bit on this and we'll work on it. So let's go to example number 1. Example number 1, find the sum. Says find the sum of negative 2.9 plus negative 6.5. Okay, so I have we're adding a negative. We're adding a negative, which ends up being a negative. So it's going to be minus 2.9 minus 6.5. So both of them are minus, right? Both of them are minus. So we're going to go further negative from negative 2.9. So we're going to add the 2.9 and 6.5, 2.9, 6.5, 4, and we have 9, so we have a negative 9.4. Okay, again, when we're adding a negative, it becomes a negative altogether. Okay, so this was A. Let's look at B. Find the difference, negative 25.38, and then negative 3. Then we're gonna minus, we're gonna subtract negative 42, 2.734. So we're subtracting a negative. We're subtracting a negative, so it's a negative and a negative, so it becomes a positive. Subtracting a negative becomes a positive, so this is going to be the same as negative 25.38 plus 42.734. So we have a negative on this side and we have a positive on this side. But if you look at the number itself, the positive number is larger than the negative number. So it's going to end up being a positive number, and so we're going to have to subtract the, from 42.734, we'll subtract the 25.38. So we're subtracting here. So we go 483, carry 1 over, we get 15. So this becomes a 6, so it becomes 3. 7, 1. So we're going to plus 17.354. Okay. All right. So that's how you do it. Again, it's the same thing as if you had just integers, except we're just doing it with decimals. Okay. And yes, decimals are numbers. Okay. So they just add, subtract, and multiply and divide just as your integers. Okay. All right, example number 2. Example number 2. It says to perform the indicated operation. Perform the indicated operation. A. The first one is negative 0.7 times 18.4. You have a negative number times a positive number. Negative number times a positive number is a negative number. So let's do the multiplication itself. So it's 18.4.7, 28, 2, 56, 8, 5, 112. I have 2 behind the decimal, so I'm going to go count 1, 2. So it's going to be negative 12.88. Okay. Then we have B. In B, we have a situation where we have a negative number, negative 4.5 times a negative 9.25. We have a negative number times a negative number. This becomes a positive number, right? Negative times a negative is a positive. So we're going to have 9.25. We're multiplying 4.25. 5. 5, 5, 25, 5, 2 carries over, I have 10, so it becomes 12. 1 carries over, 45. I add the 1, I get 46. I have 4 times 5 is 20. 0, the 2 gets carried over, I have 8. So I add the 10, 1 gets carried over, 36 becomes 37. 5, 2, 6, 1, 4. I have 1, 2, 3 behind the decimal, 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be 41.625, right? 41.625. That's B. So we do C here. C is negative 29.07 divided by negative 1.9. Okay, so what do I have here? I have a negative number divided by a negative number. Negative divided by negative is positive. So we have a positive number. Now let's go ahead and do the actual division. 1.9. So I'm going to move this guy over 1. I'm going to move this guy over 1. We have that. So I have 1, 19, 1, 0, 0. 19 goes into here 6, 5 times. So I'm going to get 0, 9, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 7, I'm sorry, 1, 0, 7, right? So I do 6, can I do 6? No, I'm still doing 5. So it's going to be 90, 170, and on and on and on. Is 15.3. What happens? 15.3. What have I got wrong here? 2907, 1.9, 100, 5, 100, 15.3. Okay, so it'll be 15.3. All right, so that's C. Let's go to D. D. We're going to have 16.83 divided by negative 3.3. So I have a positive number divided by a negative number, positive number divided by a negative number, which is the same as being a negative number divided by a positive number, right? Same thing. They're different signs, so it becomes negative. So the entire number is going to be a negative. So we're going to have 16.83 divided by 3.3. So if I move this guy over 1, move this guy over 1, I get this. So I go 5, 5, 1, 6, 3.3333. So it's going to be 0.1330. So the answer is 5.1, negative 5.1. Okay. That's example number 2. Okay, as you see, these are not hard things, okay? They're just things that you already know how to do. We're just doing them using decimals, okay? Example number 3. Example number 3, A, solve the equation. A, we have x plus 4.7 is equal to 3.5, okay? I want to solve for x, so I need to get rid of the 4.7 over here. In order to get rid of the 4.7, I'm going to subtract 4.7 from both sides. So this guy goes away. I get x is equal to 3.5 minus 4.7. We have a positive number. We're subtracting from a positive number a negative number. The negative number is larger, which means it's going to be a negative number. We have 4.5 minus that, it's going to be 1.2. So it's a negative 1.2, right? 4.7, 3.5, right? 1.2. So it's a negative 1.2. Let's do B.
How did you get the negative?
Why did I get the negative? Because I have a positive number, right? I have I started with x equal to 3.5 minus 4.7. So I have a positive number here. I have a negative number here. But if you look at the number itself, the negative number is larger. And that's why I'm going to get the negative number.
Oh,
Okay? It's the same thing as if you have 3 minus 100, right?
yeah.
I have a positive number here and a negative number here, but the negative number is larger, so I'm going to get a negative 97, right? Because the difference is 97, 103, right?
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
Good question. Let's go on to B. B. We're going to have y minus 6.91 is equal to negative 2.26. Again, I want y all by itself on one side, which means I need to get rid of this. Since this is a minus 6.91, I'm going to add 6.91 on both sides. I have a negative and a positive, so they cancel out. Y is equal to negative 2.26 plus 6.91. Okay, again here, I have a negative number and I have a positive number. On this one, the positive number is larger, right? The positive number is larger, so it's the same as 6.91 minus 2.26, 6.91, 2.26. So I'm just subtracting here. I get 5, 6, 4. So this is going to be 4.65. Positive though, because a positive number is larger. Okay. So that's example number 3. Okay. Again, you shouldn't be, this is all stuff that you've done before and you've used and you've did homework on, okay? It's stuff that you already know. We're just using them with decimals. We're doing the same thing with decimals. Example number 4. Solve the equation A. I have negative 0.6m is equal to negative 5.1. Okay, so I want the m by itself. So I have a multiplication here, right? 0.06, negative 0.06 times n is that. So I'm going to have to divide both sides by negative 0.6. Right, so now the negative 0.6 and the negative 0.6 cancel out. I have m is equal to negative 5.1 times, negative 5.1 minus divided by negative 0.6. Negative number divided by a negative number is a positive number. So the overall number is going to be a positive. I just now have to divide 5.1.6. If I move it over 1 over here, I move this guy over here to here. It's basically the same as this. So if I divide by 8, I get 48. 30 is 530. So your number is 8.5 is your answer. Okay. And then we have B. B. I have n divided by negative 8 is equal to 1.75. So I have a number that is divided by negative 8 here, but I want the n by itself, and I want to get rid of this guy. Since it is divided by negative 8, I'm going to go ahead and multiply both sides by negative 8. So now this guy cancels out because you have one on the top, one on the bottom, and is equal to 1.75 times negative 8. So I have a positive number times a negative number. Positive number times a negative number is going to be a negative number. So the overall is going to be a negative number. Now I just have to do the multiplication. 1.75 times 8. 0, 4, 0, 6, 14. I have 1, 2 behind the decimals, so 1, 2. So it's going to be negative 14. Okay. All right. So that's that. That's that. And last but not least, we have a word problem. So let's see if we can work out the word problem here. When a chipmunk hibernates, its weight decreases by about 0.31 pounds. So in other words, as it hibernates, it's going to lose 0.31 pounds, right? While it's sleeping, you still have to exert, you still have to have some sort of energy, right? And that's going to come from your body fat, okay? After hibernation, a chipmunk weighs about 0.35 pounds. Find the weight of a chipmunk before hibernation. So before hibernation is what we're trying to find. I don't know that. That's what I want to find. So before hibernation, we call that X, right? Okay, but we're going to lose from X, we're going to lose 0.31 pounds. So we have to subtract away 0.31 pounds, right? And the end result was 0.35 pounds because after the hibernation, the squirrel weighed 0.35 pounds. Okay, so this is what we need to solve. Okay, and this is the hard part. Okay, this is the hard part, figuring this out from the words, from the paragraph. You need to be able to figure this out. Okay. We're going to go ahead, since we want to isolate the X, we want X by itself, and it has this minus 0.31. We're going to add 0.31 on both sides. So this guy and this guy cancels out. X is equal to 0.35 plus 0.31 plus and a plus, so it's going to be plus 0.66. So that's your answer, 0.66. Okay. All right. So we're done with 2.7. I've covered everything that you guys need for 2.7. Are there any questions of what we've